You have been taught to believe that leadership begins when somebody recognizes you, promotes you, validates you, endorses you, praises you, or gives you a title. That belief sounds normal because the entire human system has been built around it, but nature exposes it as a psychological dependency. A tree does not wait for permission before growing, a bird does not request an appraisal before singing, and a river does not ask whether changing direction will damage its reputation. Life moves because movement is its nature, and real leadership begins in exactly the same way. It begins when you stop waiting to be chosen and start taking responsibility for what you can see, what you can do, what you can create, and what you know must change. This is where the uncomfortable truth begins. Many people do not actually want leadership. They want recognition without responsibility. They want visibility without risk, authority without consequence, praise without accountability, and influence without the burden of standing alone when the room turns cold. Nature offers no such bargain. A tree becomes visible because it grows, not because it campaigns for importance. Its authority comes from function. It holds soil, gives shade, feeds life, shelters birds, stores water, and changes the ecosystem simply by becoming fully what it is capable of becoming. That is leadership stripped of performance. It is not about how many people report to you. It is about what becomes possible because you are present. This principle shapes personality in a very direct way. When you depend heavily on external approval, your personality becomes adaptive in the wrong direction. You begin reading rooms instead of reading reality. You modify your truth to protect your image, soften your ideas to preserve acceptance, and avoid difficult decisions because rejection feels more dangerous than stagnation. You may look cooperative, polite, and professionally mature, but internally you become divided. One part of you knows what needs to be said, while another part calculates what is safe to say. Over time, this split drains your energy, weakens your instincts, and turns leadership into performance. When you claim leadership internally, the personality changes. You become less desperate to impress and more committed to participate. You become willing to speak before certainty is complete, but you also become willing to correct yourself when reality proves you wrong. You stop treating confidence as the absence of doubt. You understand that confidence is the ability to move responsibly while doubt is still present. That shift makes you calmer, sharper, and more difficult to manipulate because praise no longer controls you and criticism no longer automatically destroys you. This does not mean becoming arrogant, loud, or isolated. A tree is fully individual, yet completely embedded in the forest. It does not lose its shape in order to belong, and it does not destroy the forest in order to prove its individuality. This is one of the deepest lessons modern human beings have forgotten. Individuality and belonging are not opposites. You can be distinct without becoming disconnected, independent without becoming indifferent, and powerful without becoming dominant. The strongest personality is not the one that needs to defeat every other personality. It is the one that can remain itself inside relationship. That principle becomes crucial in career. Most organizations speak about leadership while structurally rewarding conformity. They ask for innovation but punish discomfort. They claim to value independent thinking but promote people who protect dominant assumptions. They invite different voices into the room, then quietly teach those voices which conclusions are professionally acceptable. This creates a specific kind of corporate personality, highly capable, carefully managed, and psychologically cautious. People learn how to sound intelligent without becoming dangerous to the system. You may recognize this in your own career. You see a flawed process, but you wait for a senior person to mention it first. You know a project direction is unrealistic, but you soften the warning until nobody feels accountable. You notice that everybody is repeating the same assumptions, but you hesitate because disagreement may affect your appraisal. Then the failure arrives later through cost escalation, poor execution, employee burnout, customer dissatisfaction, or strategic irrelevance. The system calls it an unexpected event, even though several people saw it coming. Real leadership appears earlier. It appears when you make the individual claim to notice, question, intervene, and propose. You do not wait until authority guarantees safety. You use evidence, judgment, experience, and responsibility, then you speak. This does not always earn immediate praise. It may initially attract resistance, isolation, or suspicion because systems often defend familiarity before they reward truth. However, over time, the people who consistently improve reality become far more valuable than the people who merely protect appearances. Nature teaches a second principle that is equally disruptive. Life does not move towards one ideal form. It creates variation without end. There is no final tree, no universally correct flower, no perfect bird, and no ultimate landscape that makes all other forms unnecessary. Consciousness expresses itself through divergence. It branches, experiments, adapts, multiplies, and produces difference, because difference creates possibility. Human systems repeatedly do the opposite. We take children with different minds, temperaments, and capacities and push them through narrow definitions of intelligence. We take adults with different motivations and judge them through standardized career ladders. We take cultures shaped by different landscapes and histories and pressure them towards one model of development. We take unique people and turn them into comparable profiles, performance ratings, and market categories. Then we wonder why so many people feel successful on paper and strangely absent from their own lives. Divergence is not disorder. It is the architecture of resilience. In nature, variety ensures that when the environment changes, some form of life may still be capable of responding. What appears unnecessary in one period may become essential in another. The same principle operates in organizations, societies, and relationships. A team that thinks in many ways sees risks and opportunities that a uniform team misses. A society containing different cultural memories and knowledge systems has more ways to survive disruption. A person with multiple capacities, identities, and sources of meaning is less likely to collapse when one role disappears. Yet most human beings say they appreciate difference while emotionally resisting it. Difference becomes attractive only when it remains decorative. The moment it challenges our assumptions, delays our preferences, or questions our identity, we call it difficult. This is why many workplaces are visually diverse but intellectually narrow. Different faces sit around the same table, but everyone has learned that survival depends on thinking within a permitted range. That is not genuine divergence. It is conformity wearing a modern costume. Your personality reveals how comfortable you are with divergence. When your identity is fragile, another person's difference feels like a judgment against you. Their success threatens your value, their beliefs threaten your certainty, their lifestyle threatens your choices, and their independence threatens your control. You may respond through comparison, dismissal, mockery, moral superiority, or subtle exclusion. You do not need to attack them openly. Sometimes you simply stop listening. When your inner structure becomes stronger, divergence becomes informative rather than threatening. You can encounter a different mind without immediately defending your own. You can appreciate another person's gift without reducing your own. You can disagree without dehumanizing. You can say, "That is not my path," without needing to prove that their path is wrong. This is not passive tolerance, it is psychological maturity. In intimate relationships, this principle becomes brutally visible. Many people say they want love, but what they actually want is emotional convergence. They want somebody who confirms their worldview, mirrors their priorities, validates their wounds, supports their ambitions, and responds predictably to their needs. At first, similarity feels like intimacy because it creates ease. Later, the actual person begins to emerge. Their rhythms differ, their emotional language differs, their ambitions change, and their inner world refuses to remain a supporting role in your personal story. This is where relationships either mature or begin to collapse. If you treat difference as betrayal, every divergence becomes a threat. You accuse your partner of changing, becoming distant, or failing to understand you. Sometimes that is genuinely true, but often the deeper issue that you never made room for a second consciousness. You wanted companionship, but only on the condition that the other person remains psychologically convenient. Nature does not build intimacy through sameness. Ecosystems exist through complementary difference. Roots, fungi, insects, water, soil, and sunlight do not perform the same function. Their relationship works because each contributes something distinct. Human intimacy becomes stronger when two people stop trying to become one undifferentiated identity and learn to create a living system between two real individuals. That requires boundaries, curiosity, and emotional strength. You must be able to hear what you do not want to hear without immediately punishing the speaker. You must allow your partner to grow in directions you did not plan. You must recognize that closeness does not guarantee permanent agreement. Love is not the elimination of difference. It is the creation of enough trust for difference to remain alive. The third principle is resilience, and this is where nature becomes almost merciless in its teaching. Life survives in conditions that human logic would reject as impossible. Plants grow through stone, organisms adapt to extreme environments, and forests regenerate after destruction. Life does not require ideal conditions before it attempts continuation. It responds to what is available. Human beings frequently postpone life until conditions become perfect. You wait until you feel confident before beginning, until you have enough money before creating, until the relationship feels completely safe before becoming honest, until the organization becomes supportive before showing initiative, or until your future becomes predictable before making a decision. You call this preparation, but sometimes it is fear disguised as prudence. Resilience is not the ability to avoid difficult conditions. It is the ability to remain responsive inside them. It does not mean denying pain, pretending loss is easy, or romanticizing struggle. Nature contains death, collapse, and failure everywhere. Resilience means that life does not define itself only by what was lost. It reorganizes around what remains. This has a direct psychological expression. A rigid personality depends on continuity. It needs routines, identities, relationships, and outcomes to remain stable because change threatens the entire structure. When disruption comes, the person does not merely lose a job, relationship, or status. They lose the version of themselves built around it. This is why some events feel larger than the event itself. The external loss activates an internal emptiness that had been hidden by structure. A resilient personality is not unaffected. It feels the loss fully, but it is capable of reorganizing identity. It asks, what remains alive in me now? What can still move? What new form is trying to emerge? This person does not insist on returning to the previous form. They understand that survival may require transformation. In career, this means recognizing when loyalty to an old identity has become self-destruction. You may have spent years building expertise in one field, one organization, or one role. Then technology changes, the market shifts, leadership deteriorates, or your own motivation evolves. Your rational mind may argue that changing direction invalidates the past. Nature sees it differently. Past growth becomes material for future adaptation. A branch may fall, but the tree continues growing around the wound. Your previous experience does not disappear when the form changes. It becomes embedded capacity. The real danger is not transition. The real danger is remaining loyal to a form that no longer supports life. In relationships, resilience means something more demanding than simply staying together. Many relationships survive structurally while dying emotionally. Two people maintain the form because change feels frightening, but curiosity, truth, and vitality have already disappeared. That is not resilience. That is preservation. A resilient relationship can change form without losing its deeper commitment to truth. It can renegotiate roles, expectations, intimacy, and direction. It can admit when old patterns no longer work. Sometimes resilience means repairing the bond. Sometimes it means ending it without turning the other person into an enemy. The deeper principle is not preserving the old form at any cost. It is remaining loyal to life, dignity, and consciousness. Nature also teaches us that intelligence is not always centralized. A forest has no chief executive, yet it coordinates enormous complexity. A human body has no single cell personally controlling the entire organism. Intelligence is distributed through feedback, communication, and relationship. This exposes one of the greatest weaknesses in modern leadership, the belief that authority must know everything. When leaders become addicted to being the smartest person in the room, information begins to disappear. People stop bringing bad news, stop challenging assumptions, and stop revealing uncertainty. The leader appears powerful while the system becomes blind. Eventually, reality delivers the feedback that people were too afraid to provide. The more intelligent leadership model is not knowing everything. It is creating conditions in which intelligence can emerge from everywhere. This requires strong enough leadership to distribute power, secure enough leadership to hear contradiction, and disciplined enough leadership to distinguish useful dissent from random disruption. This principle becomes even more important in the age of artificial intelligence. AI can either expand divergence or accelerate convergence. It can help individuals think, create, learn, and participate more deeply, or it can compress human expression into predictable patterns generated from the same underlying systems. The technology is not automatically liberating. It reflects the consciousness directing it. If organizations use AI only to standardize language, reduce judgment, monitor behavior, eliminate variation, and increase output, they may create efficiency while destroying the human differences that generate resilience. If individuals use AI only to avoid thinking, they may become faster while becoming intellectually weaker. The tool becomes powerful while the user becomes dependent. The positive application is different. AI can help you explore unfamiliar perspectives, develop neglected capacities, translate knowledge across disciplines, and turn unique experience into wider contribution. It can support individuality rather than replace it, but only when you remain the conscious center of the interaction. You must still question, choose, interpret, and take responsibility. This returns us to the original principle. Leadership is an individual claim. Technology cannot claim it for you. Institutions cannot gift it to you. Relationships cannot permanently provide it. Praise cannot sustain it. You claim leadership when you participate consciously in the reality directly in front of you. You stop asking, who will approve this, and begin asking, what is responsible here? You stop asking, how do I appear, and begin asking, what am I contributing? You stop asking, how do I make people more like me, and begin asking, how do I create enough strength to hold genuine difference? You stop asking, how do I preserve the old form, and begin asking, what remains alive and what form does it need now? These questions change the people you attract, the situations you tolerate, and the events that follow. When you depend on validation, you attract people who control access to it. When you fear difference, you create relationships built on compliance. When you resist change, life eventually forces change through crisis. When you claim responsibility, respect divergence, and develop adaptive strength, your environment begins reorganizing around a different level of consciousness. You may lose certain people because they preferred the version of you that required approval. You may outgrow roles that once gave you identity. You may face temporary isolation because real individuality initially disturbs systems built on sameness. However, you also begin meeting people who recognize participation rather than performance, truth rather than status, and growth rather than control. That is the raw lesson from nature. Life does not promise comfort. It promises movement. It does not guarantee recognition. It offers participation. It does not create one perfect form. It keeps producing difference. It does not preserve every structure. It protects the deeper possibility of continuation. You are not outside this process. You are nature becoming conscious of itself through a human life. Your body, instincts, imagination, fears, and capacity to adapt all belong to the same living intelligence that grows forests, changes rivers, and pushes flowers through concrete. The question is not whether you possess leadership. The question is whether you will claim responsibility for it. The question is not whether you are different. The question is whether you will stop apologizing for the form your consciousness is trying to take. The question is not whether life will change. The question is whether you will become rigid and break or remain alive enough to adapt. Nature never asked for permission to become extraordinary, but nature also never became extraordinary alone. Your individuality matters because of what it contributes to the whole. Your leadership matters because of what becomes possible around you. Your resilience matters because other lives are affected by whether you collapse, harden, or transform. Look honestly at your personality, your career, your relationships, and the recurring situations in your life. Where are you still waiting to be chosen? Where are you demanding sameness because difference frightens you? Where are you preserving a form that has already lost its life? Those are not abstract questions. They are diagnostic points. They reveal where your consciousness is ready to grow and where fear is still controlling the direction. Do not wait for another appraisal, another title, another relationship, or another crisis to tell you who you are allowed to become. Claim your participation now. Lead where you stand. Let other people remain real. Adapt without abandoning your deeper nature. Use technology to expand consciousness, not outsource it. Become strong enough to remain individual and conscious enough to remain connected. If this speaks directly to patterns you are living through in leadership, career, relationships, or personal transition, get in touch with me for a deeper reading and guidance session built around your actual life, not a generic formula. The right reading should not merely describe you. It should expose the pattern, reveal the pressure point, and show you what can change when you finally begin working with the nature that is already alive within you. Like this episode, share it with someone who is still waiting for permission. Subscribe to the channel and leave your own experience in the comments. Tell me where nature has taught you more than any institution, title, or authority ever could.